欢迎来到快观点。今天我们邀请到2位专家来谈加拿大寄宿学校的事件。首先，我们邀请到来自 Mohawk 的 Kenneth Deer， 他是享誉全球的原住民人权问题专家，也是在联合国很活跃的一个倡议者。他花了25年和其他成员共同奠定了原住民族人权的重要决议——这个原住民族权利宣言。而除了常年投入国际原住民运动之外 ，Kenneth Deer 他自己也是原住民同化教育底下的幸存者。他过去读的学校虽然不像寄宿学校那么夸张，会把他跟原生家庭拆开，但是他也曾经深深地感受到文化和语言双双被剥夺的痛苦。让我们把镜头接下来交给记者陈之宁和专家 Kenneth Deer。
Thank you so much for being here, Kenneth, and it is an honor to have you.
Well, thank you for inviting me. The honor is mine to be called from such a faraway place as Taiwan.
So we are going to discuss the residential school cases in Canada today. And my first question will be, what is the relationship between your experience as an Indigenous day school student and your work related to Indigenous residential school and the struggle for justice for Indigenous people in Canada?
There's a very, very close relationship to, the school system and myself, because I'm a victim of the school system. I never went to residential school because residential schools, they took the children away and sent them far away to the schools to be away from their parents and their culture and their language, and were punished if they tried to speak their language, and they tried to eradicate the culture of our people. There was also the day school system, which was the schools were in our community, and but the curriculum objective was the same. I don't speak my language. So that's what the elder meant about me being incomplete. I couldn't understand the nuances of our teachings, of our culture, and that's what makes me today an incomplete person. And I guess I tried to make up for it by being very, very more active in the international level, national level here, local level, to try to take control of education away from the government, that we control and run our own schools. I became more involved at the international level to fight for the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, to fight against genocide, the elimination and the eradication of Indigenous peoples.
You've been involved with the UN Indigenous Rights Declaration for more than 30 years. What do you think explains Canada's vote against this? And do you think the declaration is relevant to the residential school issue?
I think the world is realizing now that Canada hasn't been that perfect. I think the residential school and the unmarked graves that have been discovered has raised the issue of Canada's behavior at international level. In my opinion, the church, the Catholic Church, has to rescind the papal bulls that revoke. I'll use about a stronger word. They must revoke the papal bulls that made up the doctrine of discovery, which is what Europeans, kings, used to claim North America and the other parts of the Americas and Australia, New Zealand, and other colonized areas of the world. The papal bulls basically said that if you discover a new land and the people that are already there, if they're not Christian, then you can claim that land for yourselves, saying that we as Indigenous people, we don't have a right to the land, or we have no more rights than the animals that were living there. And this is the fundamental root of the dispossession of Indigenous peoples, the disempowerment of Indigenous people. And the residential schools system was a way of enforcing that dispossession. So the residential schools go back to that, to the doctrine of discovery and the papal bulls. There's a line of rationale for the elimination of Indigenous people, going back to that. I want to make it very clear that the purpose of the residential schools was to eradicate Indigenous people. Why did they want to eradicate us? Because we are the original owners of the land. It's all about land. As long as Indigenous people exist, Canada can't say, well, this is our land or their land. It's the Indigenous peoples, that's our land. And so that so there is this feeling of guilt maybe by Canada, or the understanding that they can't really claim territorial integrity over all of Canada as long as there's Indigenous people here. So you eliminate the Indigenous people, then Canada can say, well, look, the original people are gone now. They don't exist anymore, so therefore there's no challenges to the territory of Canada. So that's what it's all about, land. It has been that conflict between the settlers from Europe when they came here was always been about land and national resources, beaver pelts, fish, all of these kinds of I guess wealth that we had has been the conflict between Indigenous peoples and the settlers.
Is there any possibility that the Indigenous movement and transitional justice will make a further progress after the recent discovery of unmarked graves of Indigenous children at the residential school sites?
I think that after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's report came out, is that with the 94 calls to action, I think there has been a change. There has to be more change, mind you. And the unmarked graves have risen, those 94 calls to action, to a higher level. And now there has been, but even before the graves were found, there has been an impact. You'll see, in particular in education institutions, you're seeing more universities adding Native studies or Indigenous studies onto their program. They're hiring more Indigenous professors to teach. There's more, there's some, Indigenous people have been better organized, and the schools and government institutions, municipalities, cities have been acknowledging that they're on Indigenous land, and those acknowledgements are important. They're a little piece of the of reconciliation. So there has been a lot of things that have happened since the calls to action. And I also want to really point out the brilliance of the report. The report didn't make recommendations because the Truth and Reconciliation, the commissioners said that recommendations just sit on a shelf. We're not making recommendations. We want action, and that was brilliant. It forces governments and institutions into action, and not just words. It's not, of course, a long way to go yet. I mean, there's more that has to be done, but it has had an impact.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. It was such a pleasure to have you.
94 calls to action， 这个我们中文把它翻成94项呼吁。不过其实 calls to action 不只是呼吁，它是名副其实的 action， 叫政府真的要动起来。所以 Kenneth 他刚刚说的很对，加拿大政府曾经犯下令人发指的罪行。那现在最重要的就是要拿出诚意，不是为了作秀，也不是为了选票，而是真心诚意的去概括承受发自内心的道歉，好好弥补当年被你伤害过的人。